Greetings everyone and welcome back to T2 News. I don't have any notes. I'm just going to try to wing it and try to remember to tell you about all the fun things I've learned today. First of all, apparently sharks have been eating the cocaine that has been dumped off by drug dealers in the ocean, and they sent scientists to investigate these sharks to see what was going on with the sharks eating all the cocaine, and they said they may have crazy brain. I'm assuming that's a scientific term for when a shark eats a bunch of cocaine. Can you imagine spending a bunch of money on scientists and they go down to study sharks and they say, yeah, he's got the crazy brain. That's what it is. He had a bunch of cocaine and now they're going crazy. I think we'll call it crazy brain. In other news, apparently this Generation Z, people that are in their 20s right now, look like they're in their 50s or 60s, and it's a very strange phenomenon. I don't understand what causes it. People looking old. Also, I've been watching this new show called Gen V, which I didn't realize until recently was a spinoff of The Boys. I thought it was a different superhero show, but this was like a prequel. I think they mentioned this character Golden Boy in the Boys, and this tells you like the story of how he committed suicide. And it's kind of disturbing how loose the show is with sexuality and nudity. And it's like, there's one girl that can shrink herself, and she gets on a date with a guy, and he wants her to like shrink herself down small enough so she can like ride on his dick. And they have like a big CGI cock and balls that she's just kind of riding the shaft of, and she's kicking him in the nuts. And Golden Boy, he like lights himself on fire, and it burns all of his clothes off. And at this college that all these superheroes go to, they're just kind of like used to it, I guess. It's just kind of like, yeah, we just see dicks all the time, and nobody tells them to put clothes on. They're just like just a naked guy running around all the time with his dick flopping around. Like, sure, I guess this is just part of life now. Which I guess with the internet now, with the millennials and younger, they have all gotten so used to pornography that I guess everybody just sees dicks all the time. Like, usually when I was growing up, like, you wouldn't see a vagina until you were like 13, 14. And now kids like 6 years old, I guess they're growing up just seeing dicks and balls, and just makes you wonder, like, are we going to be like France soon? Is the United States going to turn into like mostly a nudist? Not a whole, like, France isn't all nude, but they have nude beaches, and they don't really care about nudity. I feel like America's going to become where we don't just care about nudity anymore. Like, nobody wants to be a gender anymore. Like in the Gen V, there's one superhero that's like, they're just non-binary. That's their superhero power. Like, you see her, she's a girl, and then you come back and now she's a guy. She's like switched, and she's strong enough to fight Golden Boy because he's like super strong with his fire stuff. But it's like, what is her power? She just like turns back and forth between a man and a woman, and like she can like take his hits, and she can punch hard, and like, why? It's because she's non-binary? Well, like, people don't want to be male or female anymore, and it's like they all just are maybe bored with seeing dicks and vag and tits. Nobody cares. I feel like we're gonna become like, maybe not like France, but I think this is the reason like the Middle East hates us. They call us the Great Shaitan because of our freedom. They hate us because of stuff like that. Stuff like Amaranth. Just watched a video where Joe Rogan was talking about how she makes like $57 million a year from OnlyFans. And that got me thinking about like simps. Has anybody ever interviewed a simp? Because I'd like to get in the head of a simp and like see like, why are you spending this money? Like, the internet is full of nudity and porn. Why are you paying someone money when you're not getting anything from them? Like, maybe you're paying for some pictures, but you already have pictures everywhere. Everybody that does OnlyFans or anything, it gets leaked. You don't have to pay money for it. It makes you wonder if it's like people like Nightwolf, where he used to, or people that have income but they have no bills. People that get money from the government, or they get an allowance from their mom and dad, and it's like, well, I got all this money and I gotta spend it on something. Like, Austin commissioned a picture of a troll or a goblin with a dick or something from Warcraft. He paid like $250 for this picture. It's like people like that have all this money and they have no responsibilities, and it's just like, I'll just give it to some woman on the internet, like, for no reason. But why? It's almost like if you took all the allowances that all the kids in the world get, and you added it all up, like a tax, like everybody has to pay tax, it would add up to like the 57 million that IMMINENT gets. Like, or at least a portion of it would be, a fraction, because there's so many OnlyFans people. That's how there's $1 trillion market for stupid stuff like that. Which I don't understand. Like, what are the other things that people get money from? Like Mr. Beast. Like, how is somebody getting all this money everywhere? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, the big news this week is that we are on the brink of World War III. That's why I have this map behind me here. I wanted to go through some history with you guys. All of you younger guys are idiots. Apparently, also, Generation Alpha can't read. Fourth graders that should be reading on their own, they can't even spell like 3 or 4 letter words, and like they don't know who the president is, and they don't know what state they live in. Apparently, some people were saying. Anyway, there was this war back in 1945ish. There was a war called World War II. You may have heard of the first one or the second one. We're on the brink of the third one, but the second one was in this place here called, where's my pointer? Germany. Germany was where the Nazis came from. You may have seen Nazis in comic books or TV shows. And the city here, Berlin, it got split into half by... can I zoom in on that? Let me zoom in on Berlin right there. Yeah, see, the city of Berlin. There was a wall called the Berlin Wall, and it split the city in half. Russia took the east side, the United States and England, all the other countries took the west side. And this is when the Cold War began, and the Cold War was basically threatening each other with nukes, because we just nuked Japan in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And those, while pretty impressive, were small nuclear missiles, which led Russia to go ahead and develop thermonuclear weapons, which are like 100 times as big. But we've never used those on any other city because there's no excuse for it. The entire world would look down on you because it would destroy an entire city and all these innocent people around, surrounding the city. So you can't really say you had to use it tactically because of a war between two countries. It's like you would look bad to the world on the world stage. And since then, the major superpowers like the United States, China, and Russia, while we all have these nuclear weapons, imagine what the United States has as far as thermonuclear wars. If the Tsar Bomba is as big as it was in Russia, the United States probably has way bigger ones. Or, I don't even know what they could have. Maybe like fusion bombs or something that they don't know. We haven't told anyone about. But right now, we have all these proxy wars, right? So the United States, we have all these little bases everywhere, from where we were in war with Korea and Vietnam and in the Middle East. But Russia basically started sending guns to the Middle East, particularly in this state called Iran right here. I can't get the text to show up well, but it's right here. Iran. So Iran then has become like its own superpower. I think they have a nuclear missile or something. But they start using other countries as their proxies. So you had like... Oh, I should go through 9/11. After the Berlin War, the Berlin Wall came down with Ronald Reagan. And then 9/11 happened. And the thing about 9/11... Some people... Conspiracy theories, but this could be true. Because Building 7 and Building 6, a lot of people don't know about Building 6. I heard about Building 6 on a conspiracy podcast last night. That the Pentagon and Building 6 and 7 and the World Trade Centers were all hit because that's where the accounting was done. Because we had spent like $9 trillion that we couldn't account for. And Rumsfeld, I think, was the one that was going to be in trouble for this. And so when you blow up the accounting firms, maybe that $9 trillion just disappears somehow. And it's like there was like in the 80s, Osama bin Laden attacked World Trade Center. And then in 2001, 9/11 happened. So about 20-something-ish years. It's 2024 now, since 2001. So it's been about 23 years. So I feel like we're probably due for another 9/11. So where would they attack now? If the conspiracy theory holds true that the accounting, because right now we're like 19, or I don't even know how many $1 trillion of debt we're in, but right now we just keep printing all this money, and the price of everything goes up, inflation goes crazy, the minimum wage goes up because of that. Gas prices have kind of been holding steady because it's an election year, but now gas prices shot up again because World War III is about to break out. So, I don't know where they do the accounting now, if it's still in like the Freedom Tower that they built in over the top of 9/11, or if they're going to like, I mean, you can't do it a different way other than blowing it up or burning it down, because you got to destroy the evidence, right? Unless you attack like the IRS somehow, or like, I don't know how you would get rid of $1 trillion worth of debt by blowing something up, because you can't have like an active shooter go in and just kill everybody, because you still got all the documents. You haven't destroyed any of the debt. So Iran, in sending out their proxy war shit, they've sent these missiles to the Houthis in Yemen, down here. We have all these trade ships going up into the Kuwait, getting the oil from Iran and Kuwait and Iraq, and the Emirates, Oman, Saudi Arabia. This is why we're still able to drive cars. And through the Red Sea, through here, there's merchants that go to Egypt, I guess, and Israel. So the Houthis in Yemen have been firing rockets at these merchant ships, and then the United States has been intervening and shooting down their drones, and now they've just... there's a couple of Navy SEALs went missing yesterday or today because they were trying to intercept some of these weapons that Iran was shipping to Yemen. But also, Iran attacks Pakistan. I have no idea why. But this is good because Pakistan has nuclear weapons. And today Pakistan has fired back on Tehran. My friend, who is from Kurdistan, which is the northern region of Iraq right here, that wants to be its own country because they're a lot like Americans. They don't care about all this stupid religious stuff. Basically, he says Iran is like the linchpin that's holding all these Middle Eastern states together. China also funds Iran, and Russia funds Iran. That's like their proxy to fight the United States. And you got to worry about over here, you got North Korea and South Korea. They're shooting at each other. The Pyongyang is shooting at like South Korea, and they're shooting like missiles off into the ocean just to kind of see what they'll do. And then you got to worry about what China's going to do if they do that. Where's these other? There's a lot of other stuff going on. Oh, everybody's focused on Israel, Palestine right now. That's just another thing Iran is doing to fuck with them. Because the Palestinians are Shia Muslims, just like in Iran. Iran basically wants to take over the whole region and make everybody Shia Muslim. But they don't really follow the religion. That's the weird thing about it, and I can prove it because my friend from Kurdistan, he says all these Shia Muslims, they drink and they whore and they do all this kind of stuff that non-religious people do. The stuff that if you were under Sharia law, you would be murdered and have your head cut off for. They do all that shit. They don't give a fuck. And look at the people that hijacked the planes on 9/11. What were they doing? They went to strip clubs. And they were spending a lot of their money in Miami, learning how to fly planes, but not landing and taking them off. They were taking off panties, is what they were doing. So, none of them give a fuck about Islam or religion. It's just kind of an excuse to, like, get the poor people in these regions to, like, suicide bomb themselves. And they all fall for it. So, yeah. Iran, they support Iraq. And in Iraq, you have these people called the militia, run by this guy named Muqtada al-Sadr, and I can't remember the other two guys' names, but really bad dudes. Even though Baghdad is kind of modernized now, and they have McDonald's and Taco Bells and stuff, down here in the southern regions, it's real dangerous. In Basra, they had the missiles. Iran had the missiles fired at Erbil City from Basra down here, so everyone would get confused and they would think that they wouldn't know where the missiles came from. But then they claimed credit for them. Iran, you're stupid. What are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. Turkey, pretty neutral, but you gotta watch these guys. Turkey's kind of weird. Don't trust them. So basically, that's what my whole point was. Like, Iran is the main culprit, but see, the United States can't just nuke Iran, which would be great, because then Russia would say, "Hey, you're firing nukes, we're firing our nukes." It's like the Cold War is still going on. The whole reason China and Russia and the United States can't use their nukes is because if we use our nukes, then everybody will use their nukes, even if we're not attacking them directly. They support Iran, so if we nuked Iran, it would fix the whole Middle East, but Russia would be up our ass. So it's like this whole kind of domino effect. You can't really fight the person that's causing the problems because it's all interconnected, you know. But if we get Pakistan to nuke Iran, bingo, that could solve a lot of problems. Or if they just do it on their own. Or if China gets pissed off at Russia and they fight each other. Or if China cuts ties with Iran. See, our main problem is we can't lose China. China makes all of our stuff. We can't piss off China. And if we fuck with Iran, China's going to be pissed. Our economy's going to go in the toilet. And then Russia's going to be probably moving in to attack Alaska or something. Who knows? So it's a whole big mess. So basically, I don't know. I mean, it's like if you're just being born right now, houses are $300,000 minimum, and you can't really afford to buy a house. There's not really that many good jobs, and everybody's just pissed off just having to work, period. A lot of people are like making videos like, I can't believe I have to pay a quarter of all my earnings to taxes, and I can't believe that I have to work 8 hours a day. That's ridiculous. But we've been doing it for hundreds and hundreds of years, but apparently this new generation is fed up. They thought they were just going to, like, not have to work or anything. I mean, we probably, with technology and robots and stuff, you would expect by now we should all be on, like, just you get money from the government and not have to have jobs. I mean, there are some things that robots can't do, so like maintenance on robots, for example. I mean, you can make robots that do maintenance on other robots. I don't know. We're all fucked, basically. But there's always next week.